Nath means the lord of that family. He's named after Lord Ram. And a man would only give his name, that name, to a son if he wanted his son to be a very good, in those days, very good Hindu, very good dharmic practitioner. But there was a little mixture going on, a little mystery. He wanted his son to be a very devout person, very devoted to God. But because he was a Hindu landlord, be devoted to God, he told his son, but not too much. You see, this is a difficulty. As a parent, you want your child to be spiritual, but not too much. I want you to have a happy life. I want you to have everything that life should give you. So he was a rich man, and he'd arranged for his son to be rich like him. So he sent him to a nice school and told him all about his estate and how to look after the properties on the estate and all of this. The difficulty was that this young man was more interested in Krishna. As time went on, his father noticed. He said, well, we're going to have to do something to keep this boy happy at home. So they arranged for him to have a portion of the family riches, nice house, and a beautiful wife. Raghunath didn't want any of these things, he just wanted Krishna. And when you want Krishna, it's not that you can't have a beautiful wife. If you want Krishna, you don't have to have an ugly wife. You can have a pretty wife. Okay? You can have money. But generally speaking, when you take to the path of devotion to Krishna, you're not interested in anything else. You're just interested in one thing, that is Krishna, and Krishna Seva. So this was a problem for his father. What was his name? Govardhan. Govardhan Majumdar. Very, very powerful man. If you can imagine that everybody in Newcastle was paying rent to one man. Okay? This is Govardhan. Very, very powerful. He said, son, when you grow up, I want you to be powerful like me. He said, Father, I'm just interested in Krishna. He said, I'm interested in Krishna too. I'm a devotee, you're a devotee. Let's not misunderstand each other. But don't go hanging out with the names of two saints. And whatever you do, don't go and see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Don't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's very dangerous. Unfortunately, he was bitten by the affection to Lord Chaitanya. He wanted to see him, he wanted to be with him. So what did his father do? He locked him up. Now any father that locks up his son because the son has refused to live like him, he's already losing, isn't he? He's already losing. Anyway, the story is long. But eventually, Raghunath, he manages to meet not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he manages to meet Nityananda, the greatest follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu has known his name. And Nityananda is a great joker. This is Krishna consciousness, very serious business. There's a lot of jokes on the way. So he saw him standing. He was in a place called Panihati. Now let me tell you something about Panihati. It's now in the suburb of North Calcutta. You can go there and you will see the actual tree that Nityananda was sitting under on this particular day. But you can also, because this is 500 years ago, you can see the house where Nityananda lived with his family, Vasudha and Janama. And you can also see Raghava Pandit's sister's house, where they've reconstructed the kitchen in which his sister would make all kinds of goods, delicious commodities, wrap them up in bags, and send them all the way down to Jagannath Puri, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living. So all of that is in a very common area. The story about Nityananda Prabhu, he was looking for a place to live. Everybody knows it can be difficult, right? Who's looked for a place to live and found it difficult? Yes. You can't get the place you want. So Nityananda was looking for a place and there was a powerful landlord. It wasn't Govardhan, it was someone else. And he was looking for a place to live on. And what you do, you want to live by the river. But the Ganges River has this phenomenon. I'll get to the part soon. The Ganges River has this phenomenon, it's called rolling land. And what happens is that you're going along in your boat, and all of a sudden you'll see the bank of the river just collapse. And that's it. A man has lost his agricultural fields. You go 200 yards down the river Ganges, and then bubbling up from the river, you'll see land. So the Ganges is always changing shape, always changing its course. This is a wonderful phenomenon in this beautiful river. So you see land being lost and land being gained, and everybody who lives near the Ganges knows that you have to take this in your stride. So, Lord Nityananda was looking for a place to build a house. He was with a wealthy landlord who owned most of the land around there. The landlord was smoking at the time. He was smoking a hookah pipe. What do they call it? Shisha pipe. He was smoking at the time. Lord Nityananda was saying, what about this place? And the landlord said, no, I don't think that would be good for you. Or what about this side? He said, no, I don't think it would be good for you. Then he started laughing. He said, actually, nowhere would be good for you. I don't want you living here. It caused too much of a fuss. All these people coming in, Hari. Too much trouble for me. So then what happened? Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, well, just give me something. He said, all right, I'll give you something. And at the bottom of the hookah pipe is a little flame burning. He took some straw. He said, look, I'll give you somewhere. And he took the straw. He said, he lit it. He said, here's your place where you can build a house. He just threw it into the river. Well, as he threw it into the river, the land in the river just raised up. And then the landlord said, what? I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it. This was very, very firm land and good land. And we went for a couple of acres, you know. The landlord said, he said, Hari Bapri. But he wasn't really good. He said, hey Bhagavan, what have I done? What have I done? So you can still go there today and you can see that. So Raghunath came into this area, and this was his delight to be able to see the confidential associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Imagine if you could see all these devotees. Nityananda was accompanied by people like Uddara and Datta, accompanied by different Gopalas, because he's Balaram. He looks after the cows with Krishna. When he comes to this earth, don't think that he comes alone. He comes with all his cowherd boys who take the form of people who are going to sing Gauranga's, dance to Gauranga's name, and share Gauranga's message with everyone. So he was surrounded. He was sitting on a raised platform underneath the tree, and he spotted Raghunath. He said, hey, come here, you thief, come here. But Raghunath was a young man, he didn't want to come. He said he was such a company of saints, he didn't want to come forward. And Nityananda went through the crowd and he pulled him. He said, come here, I said, come. And he was very stern with him. This is the incarnation of compassion. So what was he going to do? This is a play acting. It's like we're going to see a play. When you're watching a play, don't think that somehow or another one child has become Nityananda and another child has become Chaitanya. It's called acting. That's what they do. So he said, come. He said, come, you thief. Listen, everyone. Suno, I want you to know this person is a thief. He's come to steal Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So bow down. Immediately bow down. Nityananda took his foot and put it on his head. He said, because you're a thief, such a thief, he said, I'm going to give you a punishment. He said, you're a rich man's son. He said, I want you to create a wonderful festival. I want you to use your father's wealth. I want you to spend your father's money in feeding the Brahmins, feeding all the sadhus. Now, in India, it's a very common thing that you feed 64 Brahmins because Vipramukya Hutai. Vipramukya Hutai. Huta means the offerings. Vipramukya means offerings go in the face of the Brahmin. In the mouth of Vipramukya Hutai means you can either feed the flames of the fire, sacrifice the havan, the homa, agni homa, or if you can't do that, then just invite a Brahmin to your home and feed him. And his mouth will be the same as the flames that consume the Pavan Samagri to feed him. So when you want to do something big, and your wife can't get pregnant or something, then the only solution that the Jyotish tells is feed 64 Brahmins. Now it's a very good arrangement for the Brahmins, because they're always a little poor and they're all a little bit hungry. So 64 Brahmins come and you feed them very nicely. And if you're very careful and you don't commit any aparad to the Brahmins, you'll get your wish. So I'd just like to say I'm available. Any invitations? You know the story from the Mahabharata where Draupadi was feeding the 64 Brahmins, and there was a magical bell, and if the Brahmins were satisfied after she fed them, the bell would swing with no human agency in control. So Draupadi, she cooked very nicely. It was after the battle of Kurukshetra. Everybody was happy, although grief-stricken. She cooked. She served the Brahmins very nicely. There was no bell ringing. I said, no bell ringing. No bell was ringing. She became very worried. Why is there no bell ringing? What have I done to offend the Brahmins? Then someone advised her. Said, what happened to your mind after you served the Brahmins? Because the Brahmins were sadhus. And sometimes the sadhu will take a laglu and he'll break it up and he'll mix it with the khichdi. And he'll mix everything together just to make the meal less enjoyable. So Draupadi was looking and she looked and she saw, I spent a long time cooking 6, 7, 8 different preparations. Now you've mixed them all together. And she said, and her mind was coloured. Mind was coloured because they weren't truly supporting her cooking abilities. Anyway, so she cooked again completely. And then the bell was ringing. Ding, 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 ding. Everybody realized the seva was complete. So invite the Brahmins, what Nityananda said, invite the Brahmins and serve them without offense, with deep respect. But feed them chipped rice. Sakhyarasa. Is chipped rice the same as pawa? Or is it something else?
It is. Yeah, pawa. Chida.
So flat rice and chipped rice, same thing. That is a 50-year-old question I have in my mind. Thank you. So everybody knows if you have flat rice, you can run it under the hot tap and it will be ready to eat. But you've got to mix it with either spices or sweet. So Nityananda gave the order. Mix the flat rice with savory things. You may mix it with yogurt. Mix it with sweet things, condensed milk and bananas. And what else? A little camphor. Okay.
With the condensed milk, yeah.
With the condensed milk. And different types of bananas. You know, you get 20 different types of bananas in the world. And if you go to Bengal, you get at least 7 different types of bananas. Some of them are big like this, they're more like vegetables growing on the trees. And some of them are red, that's true. That's true. You go to the top of the class, immediately. Gold star afterwards. And some of them are tiny, tiny little ones, tiny baby bananas. They're very, very super sweet. So make jars, make earthenware pots, fill them, soak the rice in condensed milk, the sweet ones, sugar, and bananas. Mix the other one, is your saliva beginning to come? So mix these and serve all the Brahmins. So they went away and they bought 200 pots. They brought 200 pots. And each of the chief guests was given 2 pots. And then they came back with 7 huge earthenware pots, huge clay pots, in which these mixtures had been placed. And it was a great festival. It was a wonderful festival. Now everybody knows our festivals. We have wonderful festivals. But there's a price tag on some of these festivals. You've got to fast. And then you feast. Okay? But with the chipped rice, the Panihati festival, why is it called Panihati? Because it was in the place known as Panihati. So this festival is such a great festival. Everybody within earshot came. So forget 64, 264, 564, 1064. They all started coming. There's a free feast Free feast, lads, let's go. Nityananda has organised a great feast. And some of them, they had no place to go except on the beach near the river. And some, they couldn't even fit there. So they went into the water and they were eating in the water. And you go today and the same tree is there, you can take a leaf from the tree and remember that pastime, wonderful Leela. Theologically speaking, it speaks to Lord Nityananda engaging everyone in the service of Gauranga, that the true meaning of wealth is to use your wealth in service to God. You know? I'm a poor Brahmin, okay? I'm a poor Brahmin. And sometimes when I'm doing this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, I think to myself, I've used my life in service to Krishna. When is Krishna going to reciprocate? You know, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, give me a cottage by the sea. Give my wife 2 or 3 saris. Give me a Ferrari. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. You know that song? Yeah. Sometimes people sing like that. No? My dear Bhagwan, you have so much, you have everything. You just give me a little something. So I was thinking like that one day. But I was doing the Hare Krishna in front of the deities of Radha Vandaneshwar. Now, in London there live some multi-millionaires, but also some multi-billionaires. And there's 3 multi-billionaires, and every morning they come to take darshan. Before they come to take darshan, they don't eat. They must come for kirtan. So you know when you look out the window in the London temple, when there's a golden Rolls Royce and there's a silver Bentley, and they're coming to the temple. So I was singing and I was leading. We were dancing in a circle. They walked in and we all held hands. And we were all dancing in a circle in front of Radha and Krishna. And a little voice, it was my voice actually. It wasn't Krishna speaking to me. But I found to myself sometimes I could think that it was. And there was just a little voice that said, see what you've got. They leave their home. They leave their home to go and get it. They don't eat until they've got kirtan in the morning. When their kirtan is complete, then they can go home. And you've got it. You've got it. So what you have, kirtan, must be worth more than billions and billions of these people, because they come to get it every morning. And I was happy. If I was a rich man. But if you're a rich man or poor, we still need the grace of God. The grace of God is the price to pay. And if the price to pay is feeding all the Brahmins or living a life of denial, then let's do that. Let's do what we have to get what Lord needs to know. Because there is the greatest joy. There's the greatest joy there. And if we live our life in the right way, we'll be able to experience this. So this tree is still there. You can go there today. It's in Calcutta. You can go and make your pranams to the tree. But this is the spot where the son of a rich man was told how to engage his wealth in service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees. So that place is called Panihati. Panihati. When you go there, you can ask the taxi driver, Panihati. Everybody knows what it is. And I would like to say that's one place to add to your list. So on this day, this is the day that it happened. We celebrate this day by wonderful songs. So Dhananjaya Prabhu has been a great devotee of Panihati for many, many years. And this morning, he channeled all his energy into writing a beautiful song. So this, this beautiful place of Newcastle would not be were it not for Dhananjaya and Saraswati. And I was going to sing this beautiful song. Is it in English?
Yes.
Or is it in
I
Geordie?
only know French, but
Geordie.
In Geordie.
no.
Away, lads, get your rice and bananas.
From my part of the country, it would be Cockney, right? south
Oh,
of English.
Cotton, yeah.
Shall I bring you the mic?
Mike is here.
Well, Nityananda need to show special mercy to Raghunath. He called him, first of all, thief. And then he said, Aisha, Aisha, come here. Ai. And then he said, I'm going to punish you now. Nandya. And the punishment was he put his feet on his head. Put his feet on his head, and he said, now we must create a festival and feed everyone this Chida Dahi. And that was a special mercy of Nityananda. And he did it, he was calling him thief in jest, which is Nityananda's unpredictable character. Therefore, Nityananda is called, begins with an A.
Yeah, that's right.
Begins with an A.
Abadut.
Abadut, who said that? Give that man a rasgulla. So, Abadut, Nityananda Abadut. Yeah, that's nice. You play well. You're singing, you're in charge now. I'm back to you.
Unusual situation. So as everyone was saying, I wrote this. I mean, I'm not really a songwriter, but Sakhyarasa was saying this morning that it would be nice to have some kind of song. So I wrote this hurriedly this morning. So you'll have to forgive me if there's some errors in here or whatever. But we'll be having the Hare Krishna mantra at the end. So hopefully you can all join in and have a good time. So this is the Panihati.
It's our little song.
I'm on the second fret, right? Second. I'm on the capital on the second fret. Right?
Yeah, second track, yeah. Oh, I got song.
This is deep purple, I think. Panihati festival is very nice. Panihati, we offer sweet cheer rice to Lord Chaitanya. Because you're the absolute truth. No one is merciful like you. Lord Nityananda, call for Raghunath, saying you're a thief, hiding in the dark, hold a festival. Feed everyone with great intent, 'cause this will be your punishment.
Mercy! Nityana's mercy! Nityananda received the mercy.
Nityananda gave the mercy.
Lord
Nityananda shows his mercy. 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 A very special place, all devotees, they came to celebrate, fasting and chanting. With the sound of Haribo, and slowly ecstasy did flow. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Let's give Dhananjaya a big clap for that line. Bengali style Kirtan, so people put your hands in high in the air, reach for the sky, and
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
ready for the special Kirtan?
Yeah!
Here it comes. Serving up now. It's a server.
Prabhupada,